Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live video. And today I'm going to show you a really quick card that I made actually with one of the stamp sets from the annual catalog. That's kind of obviously a winter or Christmas themed stamp set. It's got Hanukkah sentiment in it as well, and just kind of some general winter type things. Again, it definitely can be Christmas, but can be for kind of across the season, anything winter related. So I need obviously some thank you cards for Christmas time, and my daughters, I try to make sure send out thank you cards for the gifts and things that they get over the holidays. And so this is one of the quick cards that I made with the Snowflake Wishes stamp set. And like I said, it's pretty simple, a little sparkly. I did another one today with the same Snowflake Wishes stamp set on my blog today. So if you stop by stampwitamyk.com, you can see the other card that I made with it. That one's definitely a little more plain, not quite as sparkly as this one is. But I loved the foil on this one, so I thought I would share it with you and show you how I made it. Hey Karen, thanks for hopping in today. So again, I already talked briefly about the stamp set. This is from the annual catalog, and it is a photopolymer one, and I actually love that. It's, got, so you can see through it. It's easier to use, in my opinion, when you're stamping things like sentiments, particularly when you want to get placement on a card front like this. You want to try to get it straight and in the spot you want it, and it's way easier to me when you've got photopolymer stamps. So all right, so that is the stamp set. It also has a coordinating die set that goes with it. These are called the So Many Snowflakes dies. Hey, Diane and Ginny, I'm glad you're here today as well. So these dies actually are no longer bundled together with the stamp set, but they are still available, so you can get them. They're just not in a bundle for the 10% discount anymore. But they do definitely coordinate, so the larger kind of open snowflakes cut out the stamped snowflake images, this one and this one. And then there are several additional snowflake dies. And then this die, if you haven't seen it before, is actually kind of a bigger one to cut out like a larger sentiment or something like that, that you wanted on a card front or a gift bag or something like that. So anyway, so the dies we're actually going to be using today is this one and this one. Well, and actually that one too. But this one we're actually going to cut the designer paper with. And this one's kind of cool because it actually cuts it out of the background. So hopefully you can see that I cut it out of the designer paper. So that's how this die works. And the little pieces all come out rather than coming out as a whole piece with little pieces cut out of it, if that makes sense. It will in a second when we start using it. So, all right. So that is the die set. Again, this is called So Many Snowflakes, and it is available in the current annual catalog. So it's going to be around until at least May timeframe of 2022. So, but definitely a good one to have and have your hands on this winter. I'm going to switch up the one that I'm making today, and I'm going to switch it to a birthday sentiment. So I'm going to do birthday wishes on it on the outside rather than a thank you. Because again, I thought this would be a pretty card for a winter birthday. So, and I don't know, maybe it's a little too blingy for, a man or a woman, but I think you could send it to whoever because I like it. And so there. So, all right. So we're actually going to be using the Garden Birdhouses sentiment for the birthday on it. Before I get going, hey, Debbie, I'm glad you're here too. So before I get going, if you have not already heard, Stampin' Up! Is doing a free shipping day tomorrow, which, depending on when you're listening to this, it may be today, but Wednesday, December 8th, is free shipping day from Stampin' Up! For orders of $50 or greater, placed through the online store. So hop out, get on it, get your orders in tomorrow, or today, depending on when you're listening, Wednesday, December 8th, and you're going to get free shipping from Stampin' Up! So yay, that is a huge and awesome bonus, and I like it. So, all right, so just wanted to make sure everybody knew about that. Make sure you get your orders put in on the 8th, and make sure they're closed out. That it starts at 12 o'clock midnight, whatever that in between tonight and tomorrow, and then it will end at 11:59 p.m. on the 8th. So make sure you get your order put in and closed 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time, I should say, on the 8th. So make sure you get your order in and closed, and go order early so that, I don't want you panicking at 11:58 p.m. So, all right, so make sure that you get on your orders, get your orders put in tomorrow. Next up, hey Kay, thanks for sharing, and Danette's here as well. So next up, we have got the Last Chance product sale that is going on right now. There are many things that are retiring from the current mini catalog, which is the July to December 2021 mini catalog. There are a lot of things retiring, and a handful of them are on sale, and everything that is retiring from that catalog is available while supplies last. There are things that are selling out, so if you're wanting things, get on ordering it. I know that the Whimsy and Wonder designer paper is sold out. The what else? The ribbon that coordinates with that is sold out. The Stitch Snowflakes dies are sold out. A couple stamp sets. So anyway, so if you're wanting things, make sure that you're getting on ordering it so you don't miss out on those. And then the last thing, Eden's Garden, is an early release from the upcoming January to June 2022 mini catalog that Stampin' Up! Is offering to everyone now. It's available to order through January 3rd as a special pre-order for everyone. The bundle is actually going to carry forward into the next mini catalog, so the stamp set and dies will be there. However, the Ever Eden specialty paper, the cotton paper, and the garden gems are all while supplies last through January 3rd. So make sure you're getting those ordered, and they're beautiful, and tomorrow might be a good time to add them to a free shipping order, I'm just saying. All right, let me know if you have any questions about that. Okay. So let's get going now that I'm done talking about all that stuff. I did a bit ahead, not all of it. I wanted to show you how I placed the die on here, and hopefully I will get it cut straight while I'm on the video. But I have got a piece of the Beauty of the Earth Designer Series paper, which again is in the annual catalog, and this is cut to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I'm going to take this big die from the So Many Snowflakes dies, and I'm actually just going to place it here. I'm going to try to get this so that it's somewhat... Let me make sure, yep, I'm using the right grid lines. It's somewhat centered on the grid paper. Am I in a spot where you can see? Hopefully you can see the top of it. So I can see I'm centered here between the lines. And then I'm just going to take my die. I'm going to place it on the Designer Series paper about where I think I want it. And then try to just envision the line going straight up and straight down. That's how I tend to get things centered when I am doing die cutting and that sort of thing. And then I will carefully lift it up and carry it over to my die cutting machine, which is off to my right here. So I'm going to be off screen for 1 second. But I'm going to try to hold it in place and make sure that I get it cut fairly straight and fairly centered. That's kind of what I'm aiming for with this one. All right, hey Donna, glad you're here as well. Hopefully you're enjoying your day. It's cold here in New Jersey. Originally, the forecast said we were going to be getting some snow probably tomorrow. However, that last time I looked, the snow was no longer in the forecast, so I think maybe we missed the snow part of it. But it's still cold outside. I went to get my daughter on the bus this morning, and whoo, it was freezing out there. All right, so I did the die cutting. I'm going to take that off, move it out of the way, and then you'll see that a lot of them stayed here on the cutting plate, but all the little pieces actually fall out of the paper, so you're left with the background with a really pretty kind of delicate snowflake on it. There are a couple little ones, little circles and things in here that you just want to make sure that you get them poked out. It's not too hard to do. I ran this through my die cutting machine once, ran it back, and then ran it through a third time, and that basically cut everything and made it really easy to push everything out. So it's pretty simple to get it to, oh goodness. Can you see there's a little static electricity in the air, and I don't know if you just saw those little papers just jump right off of my cutting mat, but they did, so that was a little entertaining. Hopefully you got to see, it looked like those little jumping beans things back from when I was a kid. I don't know. So, okay, so getting that cleared off so I can use it for the next round of die cutting here. Hey, Elise, glad you're here. So, all right. Hopefully I got all the little chunks cleared off. Okay, so I've got this die cut and ready to go. Now I'm going to add my sentiment from, and again, the sentiment that I used actually on my card, the original one, is from the Snowflake Wishes, but I'm going to be using the Garden Birdhouse's birthday sentiment instead because I wanted to switch this up and make it into a birthday card. So I've got Versamark ink and my stamp here on the block, and I'm just going to try to get it nice and inky. Hopefully get a good solid inking on it. If you're concerned about it, you can definitely do this with a Stamparatus. I did not, and hopefully I won't regret it, but I'm just going to go ahead, put it down here on my Designer Series paper. It's always a little nerve-wracking when you stamp straight to the final project, but hopefully we'll get a good image and we won't have to worry about it. And if not, well, you know, I can always die cut a sentiment and layer it over the top. That's how I fix them usually. So, oh, my shirt does coordinate with the paper. I actually didn't even notice that. So I was just trying to find something warm in the closet. That was all. So, all right. So we're going to do some heat embossing. I've got silver embossing powder in here, and I'm just sprinkling it over the sentiment that I've stamped in Versamark ink. The silver embossing powders from the metallic embossing powders, little grouping of embossing powders that Stampin' Up! Has. And I've got my heat tool here. I'm going to turn that on to the level 2 setting. So Stampin' Up's heat tool has 2 settings on it. Level 1 setting is for drying. So if you do things like watercoloring and want to hurry up your watercoloring paper to dry, then you can use the level 1 setting or just have a slower drying ink. The level 2 setting is for heat embossing, so I have flipped it to the level 2 setting, and hopefully I've talked long enough that it's heated up now and ready to start the heat embossing process. So we're just going to give that, yep, there it goes. So hopefully you can see when it turns smooth and shiny, that means that it's done cooking. And you don't want to overheat it because you can burn it. And you also want to give it a second when you get done heat embossing to cool off before you start doing anything with it so that you don't accidentally smear it, because you can, when it's warm, the kind of plastic material that it's made of can actually smear, and then you have a total mess, and then you start over and then you'll be sad. So don't be sad. All right. So that's cooled off hopefully enough now that I've yacked on long enough. I've got a piece of the silver foil that I've cut from the silver foil specialty pack. This is the darker of the 3, darkest of the 3, I guess I should say. Darker would mean there are only 2. Darkest of the 3, and it's the one that's sort of brushed look finish to it, if that makes sense. So I thought it was really pretty with the snowflakes, a little bit darker underneath it. So I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to put it on the back of my Designer Series paper. I'm going to try to be careful and not end up putting Stampin' Seal over any part that I have die cut. Hopefully I missed them all. But I am going to kind of scoot up in here with the Stampin' Seal and try to get it up a little bit closer around where the die cuts are at, the little openings are at, just to hold it fairly securely on the card front. There we go. Just putting a little Stampin' Seal sort of around the die cut areas and hopefully not having any of it show through. So I'm going to take a peek at it. You would be able to see if you had Stampin' Seal that you had gotten a little carried away with, because I've done it before, gotten a little carried away with. You can see it kind of stretched across an opening, and all you have to do then is just take your finger and roll it out of the way if you end up with any of it. So it's not the end of the world if you roll over an opening in your card. Just take your finger and roll your Stampin' Seal up and out of the way. It's a little more challenging with liquid glue. You make a little bit more of a mess, but even with liquid glue, you can still fix it. So, all right. So I'm adhering this, and I don't know if I've said any of the dimensions so far. They'll all be out on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com, and I will link it up in this video as well, so you'll see the blog post. But the panel of foil is cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and my Designer Series paper was cut to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So it should layer up fairly nicely. So, all right. So super simple so far. Then I've got a panel or a card base that is Night of Navy, and it's cut to 4 by 4 1/4 by 11, is scored at 5 1/2. This will also work on your standard book fold card as well. I just happen to have a piece of paper that was already cut this way, so that's the card base that I use, but you definitely could use it on either one. No need to, if you prefer the book fold cards, you can definitely do that as well. So I've got a couple little half Stampin' Dimensionals, my chopped up Stampin' Dimensionals. Again, if you prefer the whole ones, you can definitely use them. No requirement to cut them in half. That's just what I do with mine. I'm going to adhere that to adhere those to the back, and then adhere that to the card front. Hopefully I will get it centered and straight, and if not, I'll show you my technique again that I showed you last time I did a video where I had to chop it off and start again, but I think I got it on there fairly straight. Oh, thanks, Jan. I'm glad you're here, and thanks for your nice comments. So I love the foil underneath the snowflake too. I thought it was just so pretty. So, all right. Next up, I'm going to do a little more heat embossing. So I have got one of the larger snowflakes from the Snowflake Wishes stamp set, and I'm going to heat emboss that if I can find, oh, there's my Versamark. I've got Versamark ink here, and I'm going to stamp it on basic white cardstock. So again, just trying to make sure that it is good and inky. And the snowflake images in this stamp set actually have a little bit of texture to them. And when you emboss it, some of the texture kind of goes away. So if you prefer that, if you like the kind of textured look of them, you will probably not want to heat emboss them. But again, I just love the silver layering with it, so I went with heat embossing, and I didn't care so much that I lost a little bit of the texture in the snowflakes because I still thought they looked pretty. So again, I've got silver embossing powder. I'm just going to sprinkle that over my stamped image, and I don't know exactly where I stamped. There it is. All right. Okay. And again, same process. We're just going to pull out the heat tool, although I'm going to cover my embossing powder again so that I don't end up with that spraying all over the room. Because, yep, I've done that before too. So, and we're just going to heat emboss the larger snowflake image, maybe. Come on. There we go. It's starting to go. All right. And again, you may not get a really, really perfect image with this because it is, like I said, sort of a textured image. And that's how it's supposed to look. So you may not, you know, if you don't love the way it looks embossed, you don't have to emboss it. But like I said, I liked it and I thought it looked pretty embossed. So, oh, good. I'm glad that you're enjoying it, Linda. I appreciate that. So, all right. So we've got that heat embossed. And again, I'll hold it up here kind of close to the screen. Hopefully you can see. I don't know how well it shows on the video. I can see it here in person. But it's sort of kind of, I don't want to say splotchy looking, but a little dotty looking is what I will say, just because of the texture in the stamp. One thing that you can do again with this, if you don't like the textured look and would prefer it to be a little bit more solid, is you can do this in your stamparatus. So stamp it, heat emboss it once, put it back in the stamparatus, stamp it a second time in Versamark, and heat emboss it a second time. So basically just layering embossing powder over embossing powder, and then you'll get a nice solid image on it. But again, I liked the way it looked as it was, but just trying to give you a few other little tips as we go along here. So I have got the die here from the So Many Snowflakes dies, and this is the one that coordinates with this stamped image. So I'm just going to take this and run it through my die cutting machine over here to my right. I don't know if you all have seen on my blog, but I am doing a reverse advent calendar, which if you're not familiar with that, I'm actually donating. Instead of an advent calendar, typically you open up a little box every day and, you know, get some sort of a little treat every day from the advent calendar. So I'm doing it in reverse, in that I am donating food items to my local pantry instead of opening up. I'm giving a little gift. So doing a little food donation every day. So for every order that I get, between now and the 24th of December, I'm going to be donating food items to my local food bank, just as a way of giving a little bit back during the holiday season. So I'm hoping to end up with a car full of groceries that I can take over there, thanks to you guys. So again, the details are all posted on my blog, so take a peek out there. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, I've got the snowflake here die cut, and I'm just going to use a little glue dot and stick it right to the center of the snowflake. And then I'm going to take the snowflake and layer it, hopefully right over the center of the larger snowflake that's been cut out of the background. And again, this is not going to lay down flat and perfect. If you want it to lay down flat and perfect, you can either use liquid glue or additional glue dots underneath it. I liked that it gave it a little bit of dimension when it didn't lay down flat. So ahead of time, I went ahead and cut out another little snowflake from that same foil paper from the Silver Foil Specialty Pack. And if I were thinking ahead, like I should have been, I actually could have die cut this right out of this background panel and nobody would have noticed it. But I didn't think about it until I'd already cut out the snowflake, and then it was too late. So, so if you want to conserve a little bit of your foil paper, because I know you don't get, I mean, it's 3 sheets in the pack, which is a lot, but foil paper, especially around this time of the year, I tend to use a lot of it. So I try to conserve it when I can, and I just wasn't thinking. So, oh, you just ordered the stamp set today? Good, good. With your free shipping? All right. I like it. So you must not be in the U.S. I'm assuming you maybe are in Australia. I know you guys have started. UK, I think, is also, the free shipping has started there as well. But we are a little bit behind you on time, so ours will start in a couple hours at midnight tonight, our time, or mountain time. So, all right, just using a little rolled up glue dot, and I'm sticking that right to the center. Hang on a second. Oh, I just had a notification pop up, and I was wanting to make sure that it wasn't anything I needed to work on. So, all right, so there we go. I've got that, and then I have got some blue adhesive backed gems, and I'm going to use the lighter of the two blue. My goodness, there are little die cuts all over that when they started flying around with the static electricity, one stuck right in the middle of there. So I've got a couple of the little blue, the lighter blue adhesive back gems, and I'm just going to adhere those here by the sentiment. Because the sentiment's a little different shape on this one, I need to move the gems around just a little bit as well. So I'm going to put the larger one there and the smaller one down here. I think I actually used the darker blue ones on there, didn't I? I don't know. Which ones do you like better? I'll hold it up. I can pick off the light blue ones. I actually think I kind of like the darker blue ones better. I don't know. What do y'all think? So I think I may pick them off and go back with the darker ones. I like those better. I thought it was the light blue ones when I was looking at it, and I got it on there, and I'm like, whoop, nope, those are definitely the dark blue. All right. Good thing I hadn't smashed them down yet. So, all right, darker blue. That's what I'm going with. Darker. Okay, Karen says darker, so we're going with that too. All right. There we go. Okay, that's what I was expecting it to look like. So again, these are the blue adhesive back gems, and they are in the annual catalog as well. The inside of the card, I'm going to keep pretty simple too. I've got a piece of basic white cardstock, and it's cut to 4 inches by 5 1/4. One of these days I'll get all the 1/4 inches right. And I've got Native Navy ink, and I've got the sentiment from the Garden Birdhouses stamp set, and it's one that I thought would go nicely inside a birthday card. I don't know why I like to have a little note inside birthday cards, but I do. So it says, hope each moment of your day is as special as you are. So I'm going to stamp that here in Native Navy ink, and then I've got the little snowflakes from the Snowflake Wishes stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp those, ink it, and stamp it across the bottom. You like the darker blue too? Okay. Cold and windy. Yes, it's freezing and windy here today. So yes, miserable weather all around. So you're cold and windy in Chicago as well. That was kind of why I started in on the snowflake cards. Like the one I had posted today had the sweater background on it, the little knit together one, and I'm like, yep. It's sweater weather, that is for sure. So, all right, stamping the last one on here. There we go. Okay, I think I just stuck my fingers in some Native Navy ink. Let me close that up before I stick something else in the Native Navy ink and not intend to. And then I've got Stampin' Seal here. Oh boy, I do have it all over my fingers. Yikes. I don't know why some of these inks, I swear, just jump right off the ink pad and all over me. So since I do seem to have a little ink on my fingers, I'm going to put the adhesive on the actual card base and try to handle the basic white panel as minimally as possible so that hopefully I don't end up with any smudges on it. Although I still might, but I'm going to adhere that to the inside of the card base. All right, so there we go. That's the inside. Going to do a quick crease on it and okay, or throw the bone folder across the table, and we'll be done for the day. So, all right, so that is it. So this is my original card with the thank you Snow Much. So, you know, a little pun on there. And then here's the birthday card that we made on screen today. So I know that I can see these sentiments much better in person. I know it kind of depends on the lighting that you're in, how well you can see them on the video, but hopefully you can see them on there. And hopefully you can see the pretty sparkle on the cards. Like I said, I love the foil paper, love it with the snowflakes. I thought it was so pretty. So it's calm and 40 where you are? I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not terribly windy. It was cold and windy this morning. I guess the wind has died down a little, so maybe it's just cold and I'm crazy. I don't know. So, all right. So there we go. That is it for the card today. I will plan to be live on my YouTube channel around 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Friday, and then I'll be back here on Facebook around 2 o'clock Eastern Time next week, Tuesday. Let me know if you have any questions on anything. Again, all this will be posted on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com, and I'll be linking it up in the video description, so feel free to take a peek at that if you have any questions about anything. And don't forget free shipping from Stampin' Up! Wednesday, December 8th, all day, the entire day. Orders of 50 or greater, you're going to get free shipping. So hop on, get your orders placed. Don't forget. All right, let me know if you have any questions. We will chat with y'all later.